Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, I'm Blade Master Squire Fox. This is Blade Master Sir Aradin. We're going to be talking about what we call this class is Red with the Best, which means how to use a red sword or red polearm to use in a combination of short red weapon tournaments, long polearm tournaments, War God or open weapon tournaments, and also team tournaments where they allow red sword and armor and stuff like that. If we are speaking too loudly or too softly or speaking too fast or too slow, please give us a heads up. Make sure we are able to communicate with you guys correctly and you guys can hear us well. Am I speaking in a good tone and speech? You guys can hear me?
Yeah.
Awesome. If you guys need to use the bathroom, you need to go anywhere, the bathrooms are over that way, just go ahead and just go. We'll be here the entire time. This course is going to be somewhere between 20 and 30 minutes. You're welcome to come as go as you need. If you guys have any questions or concerns, please raise your hands and we'll get to you once we finish whatever segment we're on to. Does anyone have any immediate questions about what the course we're going to be doing real quick? I'll give a little bit about information about myself. I've been fighting since 2013, primarily red sword and short red. I have won a lot of tournaments, especially in short red and War God. It's been my main preferred style for a very long time. I'm a Blade Master in the Silver Eclipse. I was an apprentice under Blade Master Dozer. We specialized a lot in defensive fighting, which ends up having a lot of good attributes when you actually do in a red sword tournament. People expect everyone to be very assertive or aggressive, but if you flip the script and be very defensive, they don't know what to do, and then you can stab them. And it works very, very well. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Sir Blade Master Aradin, been fighting probably 17 years at this point. I fight anything from usually around a 5-foot red to anything from like sword and board. I've done tournaments from like the team level, from long red, short red. Just thinking about like specialties. Typically for me, like I like fighting a board as a red. I know that's a very uncommon thing, but so a lot of the insights that I give is kind of be how can you use a red to be able to fight the thing that typically gives you the most trouble as a red in like a team setting. So just kind of give a little backstory there.
For sure. So we're going to start first talking about what does it mean to fight with the different tournaments. So we're going to go over a broad spectrum understanding what the different rule sets are for Bellegarth tournaments, including over the red sword. So a short red tournament is usually in between the 64 or 66, we've seen that range, and shorter, so up to 48 inches for a Bellegarth swung red weapon. Long weapon is typically going to be over that amount to any cap of a swung weapon. Usually both of those have no shields, no armor. It's just a 1v1 fight with those weapons. And then when you go into War God, sometimes it's called open weapon category. Anything goes. Any weapon set, any projectiles, any armor. You're allowed to use whatever cut you like to use. I really like using a 65 and a shoulder buckler. You just have to use the same, yeah. It's really good.
It's tough meta.
It's really tough meta. And then when we go to team tournaments, they typically allow all weapons with projectiles, and you get armor, and it becomes a big cluster mess of everyone fighting together. So we're going to start off with short weapon stuff. I feel like you go first about some short red tips. Is yours the 65 also?
So I think with like short red, one of the things you have to think about is, I always tell people analyze your opponent in any situation. Like the first thing you should do before you step up and fight your opponent, you need to figure out what you're fighting, right? Is it like not only the weapon, like how long is the weapon, what type of weapon, but what's the person that you're fighting? Are they tall? Are they short? Are they a little heavier, a little skinnier? What kind of weapon? All that stuff should give you data to be able to kind of form a plan. So like I would say probably the biggest piece of advice is before you ever swing the sword, just step up and think. Not the point to like, oh, I need to overthink every single move, but just realize like what you're fighting and then kind of form your game plan. So if I was coming up to somebody, I would immediately go, are they left foot forward? Are they right foot forward? Are they left-handed? Are they right-handed? Tall, short? Figure that out and you kind of formulate your plan based off of that. It's kind of usually how I start. I don't know if you want to add anything. Yeah, so typically what I would do with like the short red is I'm trying to think about speed. Obviously this is not a tiny red, this is a little bit bigger, so it's kind of hard to visualize, but if this was a min red or something like that, I'm trying to think about how many shots I can fire, because I'm not usually going to win the range game. Like if you're going up against a 5-footer, they're going to try to stab you, they're going to outrange you. Your goal should be, how can I get into range and just overload them with shots to the point where they fail. And then typically, when it comes to like short reds, I like to kind of think about how you can be in and out. So you throw a couple of shots, back up, be able to use your feet. It's going to be a huge part of like using a short red. Not just going in and out, but fighting is 3 dimensions, right? So it's not just forward and back, it's around. You get different angles of stabs based off of where you shift to. You can also get stabs on people based off of what their hips do against you. So if I'm fighting Fox, his hips forward like that, I've got a better chance of being able to seek that than if he switched it up, and now I might slip it or go this way. So what I'll do is, if I was fighting fox, I'm kind of watching his feet and how he moves to kind of meet me, especially if I have a shorter red. I might be sitting a little farther back, and then as he steps in, I'm looking for those feet. Where's his hip at? Is it going to be a good chance for me to throw that stab? Maybe not, maybe it is. And as soon as he lifts his foot up, that's what I look for as a go button in a lot of cases. And the reason I do that is because when that foot comes up off the ground, he is committed to whatever direction he's looking at, right? When you're here, he could stab at me, and I can move in any direction, really. But the second that I lift this foot up to commit, I can't change my direction. So that's a really good visual cue to be kind of like watching their hips and their feet. Good example, like fox, just kind of take a step forward. As soon as he does that, you go ahead and toss the stab in. Does that make sense to everybody?
What I really like to talk about too is that they have one thing to hit me with, and I have one thing to hit them with. If you prevent them from being able to hit me, then I can hit them, right?
Yeah.
So if I'm fighting against Aradin, and I'm fighting against someone who has a very forward stance like Aradin has, if I remove the sword, I can then hit them and they can't hit me. It seems very, very basic, but this is called a plate beat. The idea is that if it's something to manipulate, you can then go into something that's advantageous. Let's say you resist the plate beat and you hold it there. They still can't throw a shot back at me because we're locked up. Sure, I don't have a good shot either, but I'm just gonna beat and just reset the fight or get a leg or get some advantage over it. Or like what Aaron's saying, like, now we're stuck. I can sit through this hard. That's one of my favorite shots in that case.
I think with like, and to that point, like I like to think about shots as like thinking about what's gonna happen after you throw that original shot, right? So like kind of like a risk versus reward. If I'm going up the fox and I throw this, just a straight chop to the side, that's a very safe shot as a red, right? If I throw this, I can immediately kind of come into this for a pop, and it kind of works out. What you don't want to do necessarily is commit to crazy stuff that's like going for legs over here. It just puts you in such a bad spot, and again, you don't have a shield really, so your only defense is also your offense. You need to have this in a position to where when you strike, you can block, but also be able to do something else and put it back into the position to block it, because this is your shield and your sword. So, something to think about.
One of the shots that, like you were just talking about, I've stolen from you a million times, is a very, very easy and good stab they can use against very much almost any opponent, especially if you match range. But you're able to throw a stab that is super safe. You're going to line up against your opponent, ideally the sword's in the similar plane. Your idea is you're going to take a step forward with your back foot, you're going to have your pommel beat up with your knee, and you're going to follow that guard underneath. Even if Aradin takes a step back, I'm still hitting. And if Aradin takes a step to the side, I have the time to move my sword because I have the support of my knee to throw that stab.
And it kind of goes into like with stabs again. You can watch hips, you can see where they're moving, and then you just kind of cue them upward as soon as the foot comes up. Like if I step out here, he can just throw it, and I'm going to eat it every time. I cannot change the direction once I'm committed. Something to look at.
Yep. I like the situation of I throw a shot and I expect a very, very particular return. Then I go for the kill. So I'm going to go hit your left hand. I know that the return is going from my shoulder because that's so tasty, right? Now, I've taken a step in. I've actually moved my body this way. I didn't hit your arm. I just hit your hand. Okay, cool. The goal was for you to strike there. I am stuck. Not stuck, but my positioning is here. Now, I know that he cannot throw anything unless he completely unwinds. And if he goes over there, cool. I'm going to hit him before he does. And if we're stuck here, I can go underneath him much faster. I like calling those right angle blocks. I am putting myself at this angle here, and there's nothing that's going to go through onto my side, no matter how strong the person is, and I have the advantage for the shot afterwards.
I don't know if you said it, but predictable returns is kind of what I always call it, that is. It's like being able to figure out what's the most likely response to a shot that you throw on your opponent. So like if I go here and I throw like a low to his guard, probably they're probably wanting to take that and hit me in the shoulder. So typically what I would do, a normal shot just in full speed, I would tap because I want to predict where they're going to throw. Kind of goes all together with that. Like you're just trying to set up a attack, but also a defense based on where you think they're going to go. If that makes sense.
The last thing I want to talk about with short red is that in a situation where you're fighting someone with another red sword, and let's say we fight each other and you arm me, Oh,
Too much kill.
blood. And I'm armed. A lot of people are like, oh, I have to reset. We need to leave the fight. And I'm like, what do I do? If I'm armed, I'm still gonna first something, and I'm gonna try to sink it into him because I'm already in this position. Or we just Simo and cool, I get another chance.
What you don't want to do is just like get hit and then just kind of hang out in limbo and just get pieced up with another one.
Especially if you get legged. Yeah. And I'm like, oh no, I didn't throw anything. Okay, sorry. And like the idea is like, I at least get something, and now we're on both legged and you're armed.
Yeah, a lot of people kind of get caught into this like throwing just like single shots, which can work a lot. But like if you're in a tight spot where you get in the leg or the arm and you're kind of like panicking and trying to get out of like a tight position, it's okay to throw like 2 or 3 shots just to get out of the fight or get into it deeper. Like that will cover your advance. That will cover your like getting hit in the leg a little bit easier, as opposed to just kind of, oh, I'm just gonna go down and hope I don't get hit. Yeah. You kind of cover your advances, cover your retreats with that.
Like if you hit my right arm, this happens a lot. I get hit in the arm, and I'm already there. And I'm like, cool, I got trade in that kind of thing.
Again, it also goes to like risk versus reward. Like in that situation, if I ever cross my body over here, it's risky. It's got high risk, high reward. I might kill him, but if I miss, I'm probably gonna die. So you kind of want to think about your shots before you throw them. Make sure that you're throwing stuff that's safe, and if you're going to be risky, understand where that return is going to be at. So.
Now we got to go into the next section. Anyone else have another pole?
Want a pole?
Yeah.
Good catch. Like a jabby.
So pole fighting is a lot different than when it comes to red sword fighting. We have so much more range, and every mistake we have is kind of magnified. So a lot of situations when you have a long pole weapon tournament, it kind of ends up being Spear Part 2. We want to line up each other, figure out the dance, and if I arm you, it's almost as good as winning, to be very honest. So if I'm fighting someone, I think I just have an extra 5 inches on you. So I have a much bigger stab advantage. So I'm going to be almost not hunkered, but my goal is to really make him move something and try to get a stab in to kill the opponent. I would still fight as if you were fighting like a red sword with your hands in that same orientation because it's going to feel the most comfortable. Some people will switch because they like to have their stabbing arm in the backhand. That can also be very good. It's preference, but I really prefer just holding it like a red itself. A very safe shot when it comes to use pole stuff is if you can get into what I call their open side. I would call this this side, if I'm able to get a clear, I want to get the leg at the same time. Try to get that double tap or just get that leg and have that guard and leave.
That's what we're talking about when you talk about like predictable returns. He knows if he hits my leg, it's going to sweep through more than likely. And since I'm already over here, I'm going to return naturally to this. So he's already planning on that. And even if he misses the shot and I just throw and he misses it, he's still safe. He's still in a better position than he was before. That's what it means to be like predictable returns. Try to figure out where they're going to go based off of how you swing. And you'll always be in a better spot at the end of it by doing it.
I'll very much say that the worst thing you could do in a long red tournament is fight like this. High noons for all.
One of the things I would say too is like, again, going back to like analyzing your opponent, like me and Fox right now, we have 2 different reds. Most people would look at that and be like, oh, they're pretty much the same size, close. That makes such a huge difference. I would look at that and go, all right, if I know he's got a foot of range on me, I am at much higher stab threat for him. Like he can stab me so much easier, and I should be able to. I should understand that. But also, if he's got that range, and I can kind of predict that he's going to throw maybe more stabs, you can build like a little bit of a game plan based off of knowing that information. But it's just something to think about. You don't necessarily have to change up the way you fight when you have a longer or shorter, but you need to be thinking about what that's going to do to you and how you should approach it at the very least. So like stabs, all that kind of stuff. The longer the weapon is, that's when this becomes much harder to deal with. You just have to be very mindful of kind of what they're going to throw at.
One of my biggest suggestions that when you do use a stabbing motion is have your thumb pointed down. If you have your pointed up, you'll hit them in the face or you'll just skim off of them. Having that pointed down drives it more into center mass or into their legs.
You'll feel it turn over too. It's kind of like throwing a wrap shot. It's just with a stab.
For sure. One thing that you were talking about, like if you were fighting against like you have an 8 foot. Let's say I'm using a 6 foot. I'm gonna get stabbed. Like that's all I know is gonna happen, and you're gonna throw one-handed stabs because you want to stay safe. If you can convince them to throw that, you can remove them from the game by having your two-hand guard and just yeet it into outer space.
And also, you can look at like the longer the weapon, obviously it's going to be heavier, so it's going to be harder to deal with. You can bait people into making those mistakes. Like that's what that's all about. He's standing just outside of range because he wants me to throw that one-handed stab. Like that's exactly what he's waiting for. As soon as it leaves my hand, this is the hardest to recover from. So you just kind of bait them into that kind of stuff, and it'll open up a lot of opportunities that a lot of times you'll go, oh, that's kind of scary. It's got the outranging ability. What do I do against it? It's like, well, just smack it out of the way and then kill him.
So let's go into more War God stuff. We both really like using bucklers. And we just spent a lot of time on short range. Speeding it up a little bit. Alright, just pretend my buckler's on. Magic buckler. So with a buckler, you get your passive protection on your tire of your right side or your left side in case you're lefty. And the biggest advantage... Actually, you be the red and I'll be the blue since I've built that. Is that any sword and border can't do this.
Yep.
Can't high cross you, they can't hit here because their shield's in the way, right? And if I want to hit on this side, switch around. The handle's there. And oh, oops, I hit your armor.
Yeah.
You know what happens when I hit their armor? I just lose my whole arm because it's a red weapon. Now I'm like this, and oh no, you lost one.
You lose.
You lose one.
Yeah, you lose.
Armor,
bad.
like even if I do get my sword in time and I'm fighting like this, I can't stab the War God fighter in the all armor because one hand stab. Am I just gonna go and like?
I'll go.
It's gonna be nigh impossible.
That's also a good point to bring up too about like armor. So the red is the thing that equalizes armor. I think one of the best setups in a War God is actually a red with like a dozer buckler against like a board. A lot of people fear that board, but that board has to hit you. The blue comes up, he has to hit me. If I have armor on, 1, 2, 3, 4 for me to die. 4 shots in most cases. I mean, granted, if you're really good, you might come in there and pop twice. But that's very hard to do with this setup, right? The thing is anywhere I hit him with this red, as long as I've got 2 hands on it, fight's over. Or it should be, right? If I'm here and I just, much easier fight than him standing up. You can break the shield, you can wait for it, you can just try to bait him into like, you know, throwing a shot. But you can understand armor a little bit better when you think about it as not, sword and shield is something to fear in armor, but it's something that you actually have an advantage at in a War God setting, in my opinion. I don't know how you feel about that.
Yeah. The only thing that you kind of have to fear is if you're fighting someone who's maybe another 50, 60 pounds or a couple feet on you, and their goal is to honestly just put their body into here, prevent you from throwing the red shot, and push you over. Then once you're on the ground, they're going to just hit your leg 6 times, and that will kill you. That was the meta for the longest time. Like, that's how you beat the dozer, just push him over. And like, I'm just a little guy, and I see Grim come at me, and it's like, oh no! And then next round, Ron gets me, he's like, oh no!
I think too with like War God and like using red and War God, it's also like understanding where you fit in a fight. It's probably a little bit more in team fights and stuff, but like just depending on what you're going up against, you throw different shots. Armor obviously makes a big difference, but if you're going up against a flow, you're not going to throw a bunch of hacks. They've got 2 unbreakable shields, so like that's not the plan. But what they're weak against is they don't have any shield like to cover anything, so you just pop them in the chest with a stab. Sword and board, you're maybe going to be going for more, you know, like picks, like maybe just like a hit to the leg to get them out of the fight and then finish them off. If it's red v red, that's the thing that I think most people here would struggle the most because you're equalized. Like you don't get any kind of benefit. It's one hit and you're pretty much done. Whoever gets the first hit in most cases is going to finish it up. So just a couple different ways to think about what you're up against as War God.
Assuming everyone has perfect armor.
Right.
Because you should have perfect armor if you're doing War God. Maybe not shins. That's the only thing I'd be worried about.
Yeah, like usually in War God, like what I'm trying to think about is again analyzing the opponent, but trying to figure out like what their game plan is and what's the safest way for me to get one shot on them. Because I feel like with a red, especially in War God, you just have such a high advantage with the one hit, you know, equalizing shot. I want to just try to get something. It doesn't mean I need to be reaching for stuff to put me out of place, but like anytime you can find like a leg sticking out, even if it's just like a quick one, you want to be trying to get those picks, and if you can get 2 hands on it, it's just going to make that fight end so much quicker. First shot, again, usually finishes the fight. If you get armed against a red, he's going to eat you up. If you get legs, maybe a little
That block one behind you. A lot of people now have been using 6 hooks especially full blades, against like sword and borders in like Oregon, and then also in team tournaments. Because if you hit me with your normal hands to my leg or my hand, I can't. Right. I just miss. With the 65, they could probably still hit you with that from this range. By having that extra 5 inches, you're able to protect yourself, still throw shots, and still have a full blade so they can't run up on you.
We call that no free lunches with reds, right? So when you have a range advantage where you can get a free shot, that means you should be utilizing that free shot. I don't want Fox, I don't want him to get in here before I've thrown my first shot. I should be hitting him, my first shot I throw should be out of range for him completely. He should not be able to hit me or return or do anything other than block my first shot. If you're letting people get close enough to you where they're already here and blocked, you've wasted the length of it. You need to use a 5 foot. Something to think about.
Now when it comes to like team tournaments, can I have 2 volunteers?
Yeah, weapon changes clothes or whatever, so it's like right over there.
So Farrah and I will be together, and Aradin and Damon will be together.
Drop off is 10 to 12.
Yeah. So if this is a situation in a duos tournament or a 4 horseman tournament, we have 2 red swords, one is bigger, and then 2 sword and borders that are about the same size. I should really be fighting the other red fighter because we have the armor advantage of being able to be basically forgetting about it, and I can bully you as much as I can, and if I can just quick trick you, leg you, we keep moving this way, and then just double team. Then we can both fight on the person who has the range.
It's also too like it's really in any team. It can be 2v2s, 4v4, 77s. But there's a forward and a backwards position. If you don't fight together like as like an anchor, if you kind of like to split up and kind of do the skirmishing thing, one thing that I like to do. It's not a good fight for me. I would normally not want to fight a pole like this. Like this is not a good win for me. This is he gets free shots, and I don't like that. He hits me one time again, I lose, and he's got a range advantage. What I want to try to do is analyze, figure out what my best fight is, and try my best to engage on that. So I would try to square up against Fair. And there's 2 ways that you can kind of go about it. If I feel like I am, we'll call it hammer and nail, right? If I'm the hammer, that means that I'm trying to win my fight as quickly as possible, because what I want to do is put myself into a position where I can go finish off my opponent and he's stalled. So what that would look like is we square up, maybe I pull you really far out here, but I want to kind of push you. So I want to be keeping you like on the back foot if I can. If Fox ever steps forward to beat him, my goal is to do this and then come across into the back of him. But I don't want to do that if I'm fighting a fight that I don't have a high percentage of winning. If I'm fighting Fox, I'm not going to be running into Fox. Like, I'm dead. I want to be, again, the nail in this situation. I'm trying to stay alive. So I'm just trying to get the fuck out of here. I'm waiting for Damon to try to do his thing. I'm waiting for Damon to try to leg him, finish his fight, and then come help me. You don't always have to go like, oh, I've got to win my fight, they've got to win theirs. Take a leg, take an arm, and then you go help your buddy, and then you double team the last guy. Kind of what Fox was saying.
Oh yeah, of course, man.
So something I look for in 2 specifically is 2 things. One is trying to get the 2v1 in any situation, which he sort of went into. So if he's just sort of going this way, and Fox is here close enough, Fox can turn every shot, and we've had a 2v1 even if it's for 2 seconds, and that's all you need to win.
Yep.
The other thing I always look for is what's the easiest kill for the easiest person.
Yep.
So if that's a min red with no armor, fuck it, give it to me. I got that all day. But if it's a fully armored red fighter, I can't touch that. So always go for the easiest kill. It may sound cheesy, but
That's how you win. That's playing to win. Yeah, it's like you want to set yourself. I always tell people with red, like a lot of people will get a red, they'll go up onto a line or in a tournament, and they think that they've got to square up against the first person that's in front of them. If it's an 8-foot spear, you're dumb. Like you're gonna die. It's over. Go fight the guy that you have the highest percentage chance of winning. It may feel a little slimy, I guess, in your head if you're like, I want to fight the best guy and I want to win it the best. It just does not give you the highest percentage of winning. There's a chance you'll get killed and then your team may lose. So think about stuff like that when you're looking at 2v2s, 4v4s.
and the last thing is you don't have to immediately, like if Aradin's min red with no armor, we don't have to immediately start over here because they may switch. What I may do is walk up with Fox and then quickly move over so that I get that without them being able to adjust.
That's
Farrah and I fight a lot together.
the little crossover like that is a very strong, like if you're ever doing red with a board, that is one of the best ways to kind of throw your opponents, like throw for a loop. Like they set up a certain way, and the board has so much more mobility with the defense of it, so he can kind of move and shift. When he does that, he might not even be looking at Fox's pole until that shift ends. So Damon just could get completely chopped off right off the bat. And then now I'm dealing with a fight that I originally didn't want, and my mental game is like, oh God, what do I do now? This is not what I planned for.
But you see, like, since I have a pole, Farron's short, I'm actually throwing a shot while Farron is changing lanes.
Yeah.
So that's going to catch Damon pretty off guard.
And he's also back, like in that position, like Farron has pushed up in front of him. He's blocked me off. I can't get the Fox, but it also puts me in a kind of bad spot too.
I have to go through all this to help.
And this is going to take place in what, a half a second at the most. So it's very hard to deal with if you're not preparing for it. So always be like looking at what their setup is, and just be prepared for something to kind of switch up. Like what happens if Farron switches? I need to be thinking about that before the fight ever happens, because if he doesn't and I don't, probably just going to get run down and die and go, okay, what can I do the next round? And you're one round down. So.
Another thing is that if you have a longer red and you feel like you're not able to defeat the shorter red, sometimes that happens. You just don't have the layers, you don't have the time. You can just go them up. Like, you don't get to fight anymore. Leave. They get to have their fun, and we get to have little diddle. Farron maybe wins, and then we get to That happens a lot if you're fighting as a spear.
Okay.
Not if they're longer. Like in reverse, like if I'm just stab only. And I'm like, I'm like, shit, I can't hit anything. And then, no, you're in my face.
Yeah, I think it all goes to just like, again, preparing for what you're probably going to see on the battlefield. It's thinking about like what's the most predictable return or the most predictable action that's going to happen, and just being prepared for it. I think that most people screw up in tournaments because they get the wrong game plan and then they don't execute it properly. So they're planning for one thing, it doesn't go that way, and they don't have an answer to it. So just always be thinking about like what your opponent could do. Don't always just have one game plan of like, well, I'm going to go in, I'm going to swing, 3 times to the shoulder, and if they die, then that's it. And then from there, you're going, what do I do? Always be thinking about what if Farron comes in and blocks him? What if he switches at the back? Talk to your teammates, communicate. Like there's no reason you have to step up and go, cool, I'm going to fight Fox. Like, I don't want to fight this. Don't fight it. Go over here. Move around. Same thing on a field. Like, you don't have to step up to the 8-foot spear just because that's the only hole in the line. Tell people to get the fuck out of the way. Be like, move. Like, let me in. Get a couple of kills, dip out. Like, I do that a lot. You go into like a field or like a team fight, you might get like a leg. If you're not hit, shift. I don't want to fight that really. I want to fight something else. I want to team up with Damon and crush this fight and come back.
And sometimes legging your opponent is not better than killing them, but it's almost as good.
Red feels really good to kind of go into barbarian like cleave mode where you're just kind of like throwing shots and trying to get kills, but it's also okay to just throw like little like pickoff shots, like a tag to the leg and then dip out, go somewhere else. Like that is just as effective in a field setting and in a team fight as it would be to just get any other thing like an arm or maybe like get a kick over here. You want to always keep them on their toes and just expect them.
All right, thank you guys for being up here. And we want to open it. Sure, you'll go there. And we just want to open it to if you guys have any questions about our class today.
When swatting the weapon to keep it to displace it, is there a specific place on the weapon you're aiming for to get the most like leverage?
A lot of times it depends on the weapon you're using itself,
Alright.
but the more distance you can have closer to their hand, the more staying power you have.
Okay.
So if you're fighting 6 foot and I want to get this pushed out of the way, I would typically want to hit probably the middle here, and then have your ability to have that kind of hanging guard to protect yourself. So if you want to hit it, and then invert your hands afterwards. See, after that second shot leak through? No, the other one. See, now I can't throw afterwards. And he can just keep pushing me out here, and I'm stuck. Until he can ride in, kill me, or just make me sad. What's up, Farron?
What's the type of fighting that someone may do in spars or in field fighting that has a disadvantage in a tournament setting?
So a lot of that is that,
Good
in my opinion, that hit and run. Hit runs can be good when you're sparring, but when you're in a tournament setting, you gotta crunch them. You can't just go and leave. Keep going. Keep that forward momentum and just kill them. Because if you give them more time, you will die. Another thing is that a lot of people don't go for legs in spars.
No.
You should with this. You literally take out almost probably like half of the shots that you could have by just going, I don't want to hit legs. I get it. Like, I think for training purposes, it's kind of cool to be like, all right, let me work on my up top game. But like a leg is a very valuable. It's only like one of the few shots you can get with a red, especially against a board. Like, there's not many other opportunities to hit, so you need to take advantage of it. Don't be afraid to stab him in the leg, hit him in the leg, and take that out of the fight. Now you'll win the fight, and you won't get ran down by the board.
Another thing is that a lot of people in sparring, if they get stabbed and then slashed in the other arm or their leg, they call dead. In Bellegarth, they're still alive.
Yeah.
It's kind of funky. But if I stab you, and then you swing at my torso, and I just hit your arm,
So alive.
he's still alive, and I died.
That's a turn. That's a
That's a
round
win.
win. That's a win.
Yeah.
So,
Be careful of that. Just think about those kinds of things. Don't sell yourself short because you thought you died.
Is there an optimal way to hit a shield depending on how length of weapon you have?
It depends on your particular weapon, your build, and the type of shield they're using, and the person and their experience. By the rules, it says it's supposed to be like a hard, sufficient blow. That's very variable.
I mean, like the contact area. Like,
That depends on shape.
are you trying to like break the shield, or are you trying to manipulate the
breaking
shield?
the shield.
So, breaking the shield, I think it's better to probably hit at the closest, like the tip of it and the corner, because that's what you're going to, because you're actually, like, if you're trying to break a shield, what are you trying to do by breaking it, right? You're trying to hit their body. You want this out of the way. You don't necessarily have to break it to get it out of the way. You can use fakes. I think fakes instead of just like, ugh, this is a lot of energy. Like, this is a lot of motion, a lot of energy, and if I miss, look where I'm at. Cool, I have no shot. I would much rather kind of do a fake and then a powerful pop to where I can kind of still be out of range and move. But if you're trying to like break a shield, like hit it, I usually try to hit it right here. As hard as you can, that way if you do happen to power through it, you can kind of hit the shoulder. If you're going to manipulate the shield, I would always say outside edges. One of my favorite shots against big shields is actually to do this. It's called a can opener, the OG name.
Question. There it is.
Yeah.
As a red, when somebody's trying to crawl up your butt, running down on you, what's going through your mind?
It's a great question. Usually it's how can I get as much distance between them while also tagging their leg or their body. One of the things that most reds are going to do if he rushes at me, he's probably going to try that. That's like the most common, like what do you call it, the grave digger?
Let's flip around so they can see it.
So the thoughts behind this is he's running me down. I don't really have anything here. They're usually very tight, very close in. They're going to have a good guard here, good guard here, good guard here. What I'm trying to do is get this. I don't really need it to move. I just need it to not go this way. What a lot of times I'll throw, as he comes in, I'll do this. A little quick here, keeping my hand to where I can move it out. If he decides to throw, I'll just kind of here, and then as he steps in, try to tag in there.
Okay.
You just want to be trying to be on the back pedal. Like if he's coming at me, every step he takes towards me, I need to keep my guard centered, but I need to be moving back while throwing shots. I don't ever want to be doing this. You don't want to do that. Does that help?
It does help.
Another thing that I like to do is if you hit their hand, they can't throw a shot. Right?
Yep.
They're stuck. As if you dip down and then do it inverse. Afterwards, yes.
Ah, yeah.
And it's like a,
Yep.
Yeah.
Now I'm armed. And I'm
Whoa.
sad.
you notice feet too. Like when we throw that, it's not just here, it's here, here. My feet are moving out of that plane. It's giving me a better angle. You can also get that angle from like an arm snipe perspective. You know?
If I try to throw a shot.
If I stand straight in the middle and do that, I'm actually coming across his face to a degree, and you can kind of mess up and hurt him if you do that. So I usually just slide to the side. If they move that shield over there, guess what angle you're at? Or a really good one for killing them. So.
What's up, Otter? A lot of your actual difficult, specific communication is actually going to be before the fight starts. Aradin and I are going to buddy up and be like, screw that guy. We're going to 2v1 that guy, leave him for later, and go. The more simple communication that's going to be on the field be like, okay, we're ready. Switch.
One word usually. Like I like high-low. Like if me and Fox were together and I was like, all right, I want to get their legs. I want to set Fox up to hit their shoulder with his club or his sword. So what I'm doing is I might go high and just you communicate that with your person before you ever start the fight. I would be like, hi, he knows that he's going to do that, and then I'm going to hit him at the other angle. One word things are not going to be something that your opponent usually is going to pick up on right away, so kind of easy to trick them and not let them know what you're doing.
You have to be a lot cleaner.
No, I don't say you would fight any different. It's just your level of you need to be safer. I guess you need to be cleaner. You need to be like more polished, because if you get hit anywhere, again, you lose the fight. Like you start getting one-handed with a board running in on you. There's really not a ton I can do one-handed at this range. Like sure, you might do some crazy back spins or something, but you're probably going to die in addition to it.
Especially if I have armor and you don't.
Yeah, right. So it doesn't change the fight. It just kind of more or less makes you be a little more on your toes. Any other questions?
All right, we've hit about. Oh, what's up?
I was gonna talk about like maybe like 5 to 6 foot. What's some shield manipulation that you like to do against sword and board?
Strap or punch?
Yes.
Good.
I'm a strap Peter.
So most of my go-to shots for boards revolve around them committing to defensively running me down, so like bringing it in tight and just closing the gap. Because usually what that looks like is them just coming in straight. Again, fighting is 3-dimensional, not 2-dimensional. The second that you start going just back and forth, you're going to get fucked up by people doing like that. You're stepping out of the line of the shot. One of the things you can do to manipulate the shield, again, like I said earlier, you can pop this corner with a stab. It's going to pop this out, and my goal is to hit the arm behind here, right? Harder to do with a strap because it's more on their arm. More for a punch. Again, it goes to analyzing. If you can figure out what your opponent's using, you might want to use that shot more than others on a strap versus a punch. You could also do stuff the opposite. One of the things that's really fun to do, put your sword here and just push down. Boards panic and they immediately try to get out of it by like swinging wildly on you, or they'll take this shield and they'll push it out to get it out of the way, right? What's open when they do that? Shoulder, right? So it's literally as easy as walking up, and if you have like a 6 foot, he can't really hit me from this range.
I really don't like those.
No,
it makes me very sad.
Yeah, because he's like, well, what is he trying to bait me into? If he swings, I can pull back and pop. If he just does not and moves the shield, I can try to hit that. Does that help?
All right, I think we're about at time. If you guys have any more questions for Aradin or I, we'll be here for a little while. I really appreciate you guys coming out to our class. The Order of the Drawn Sword War College thanks you. We're going to be trying to do this more and more events. Once again, I'm Blade Master Squire Fox.
Blade Master Aradin. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thanks for teaching.